Welcome, my dear friends, my dear masters, and my dear gods. I am S.K.Rajan, representing the Pyramid Valley International as well as the Indian Federation of Spiritual Scientists as its Vice Chairman. I have the privilege to present to you the contents of the book Thinking and Destiny by Harold Percival. It is indeed an encyclopedia of spiritual wisdom, this book, Thinking and Destiny. No wonder our Brahma Shri Pitamaha Patriji has selected this book for passing over the important contents and wisdom of this book to all spiritual seekers across the world. We feel this book is magnificent in giving us the wisdom, and its author takes no credit for having passed on this information, because he says, I am no teacher, I am no preacher, and I am no author either. All this because he has got this knowledge and all the wisdom on spirituality from the astral worlds when he had a myriad experience in New York of light entering his body. From then on, he started the work on this book, which lasted for over 30 years, which he did purely by dictating the messages to Benon Gettelli, a friend of his, an Italian, who took down the messages and then made it into a book in the year 1946 under the name Law of Thought. 2 years later, the book's name was changed to Thinking and Destiny, and it was reprinted 14 times. So you can imagine the demand for the book and the demand for spiritual wisdom in those days. But we now have the good fortune of having this book with us, and as Patriji says, this book should be part of the library in every home where spirituality is given a lot of prominence. So friends, I have with me Brahma Vidvarishta Girija Rajan, my life partner, who has also read the book and who is conversed with the spiritual laws containing in this book. The topic for today's discussion is psychic destiny, and under psychic destiny we will be covering the physical body too, how the physical body is formed, and later about pregnancy and motherhood in the course of these discussions. So right now I start reading the book. The law of thought does not decree events beyond the physical plane, that is, beyond physical destiny. What then is psychic destiny? Psychic destiny is a name for two kinds of destiny. One kind, form destiny, affects nature matter on the form plane and has to do chiefly with prenatal influences. The other, strictly psychic destiny, has to do with states in the psychic atmosphere of the doer and affects the doer after the birth of the body. This is what is here called psychic destiny.
Welcome all the viewers. It's a great opportunity for all of us to read this book and also to understand the spiritual meaning behind everything. And Percival definitely looks at things in a totally different way as has been looked by majority of people here. So it's a different type of approach altogether. So now he divides the destiny into several parts. First he comes to the form destiny, that is a physical destiny. That is usually connected to the prenatal influences. That is, even before we are born here on this earth, certain things happen, certain things are agreed upon, certain destiny is being outlined for our lives to be lived here on this earth. So that destiny he calls it as form destiny or physical destiny. So definitely we have to undergo that destiny once we take the form here on this physical plane. And that destiny is not simply just like that it has come. It is born because of our own thoughts, previous incarnation thoughts, previous lifetimes thoughts, and in between lifetime thoughts. All these thoughts, they manifest in the form world, in this physical world, and it does not go beyond that. The physical destiny does not go beyond that. So what about the mind? The psychic destiny. Yes, there is another type of destiny called the psychic destiny. That comes only after we are born here. It is not the influence that is there before we are born. That is only the form destiny. That is limited to the physical form. So that destiny. Whereas psychic destiny is taking place from the time we are born here. So that destiny we are going to go into detail in several parts, and how during pregnancy what happens, and after birth what happens, and we will go one by one and see them in detail as Percival has beautifully put it.
Psychic destiny is all that relates to the human who is conscious as feeling and desire. Such psychic destiny comprises all the states and powers of the doer in its psychic atmosphere. Psychic destiny is of 6 classes. The first class is the feeling of pleasure or pain when the physical body is affected by contact. The second is the feeling of joy or sorrow when the doer is affected without physical contact, as by receipt of a message or by anticipation of a pleasure or of a calamity. The third class of psychic destiny, and the most important, is the character of the human, his disposition, endowments, sentiments, instincts, virtues, and vices. This makeup comes into being before birth and lasts through life and for some time after death. So these are the 3, the remaining 3 will follow.
Yeah, it is. So he has divided, he has classified the psychic destiny into 6 classes. So before that, what he says is the physical destiny is limited to the physical form only, but there is this psychic atmosphere for every doer. There is a psychic world, psychic plane, through which we get our psychic destinies, that is pertaining to the mind mostly, and of feelings and desires. So it is the feeling and desire mind of the doer that take place in this psychic destiny part. So the events we come across and suffer through, they are all known as psychic destinies. One is through contact from the physical body, what we experience, joy or pain, whatever, whichever is the experience that we undergo. That is one, this is the first class. Second class is without any touch. We anticipate some calamities, something that is going to happen. So we are anxious about the future, what may happen, from other messages from the news or something like that, without any physical contact. Actual contact is not there, but we have that, we get those feelings and emotions because of hearing something, knowing something, come to know of some news or something like that. That affects us, our psychic area, and through that our destiny is being meted out. That is the second class. The third class is the characters that we hold for ourselves. That is our identity, our own nature, our own thinking patterns, our own, so many of our own particular person's identity. So that all those things, our characteristics, all those things will come in the third class of destiny, psychic destiny. So the third part, you can say, of psychic destiny, it starts from birth and ends only at time of death, or sometimes it is carried beyond death also. That is the psychic third class of destiny. So we should remember all these things because we have to go in detail so that we will understand these things very well, and what type of destiny we are undergoing we will clearly know. So it will be easier for us to handle such things if we come across. That is why there is the intention of perceval, to make it so very vivid and so very clear. On to the fourth class for Rajan sir to read it out.
The fourth class is sleep with its restoration of bodily energy, dreams, the adjustment of the doer during sleep, and states similar to sleeping and dreaming, where the doer relaxes its hold on the senses. The fifth class is death itself and the processes of death. The sixth class is shown in the psychic conditions through which the doer passes after death during the periods of its metempsychosis, heaven, transmigrations, and re-existence. So to repeat, the fourth class is sleep with its restoration of bodily energy, dreams, and the adjustment of the doer during sleep, and similar states. The fifth class is death itself and the process of death, and the sixth class is shown in the psychic conditions through which the doer passes after death during the periods of his metempsychosis, that is heaven, transmigration, and re-existence.
Yeah, it's very beautifully said. The fourth class of psychic destiny is that is felt in, that is undergone during sleep. So during sleep what happens, we go through so many dream states. So dream states we try to balance our thoughts, and such things are happening during that period. And also the bodily mechanism, the machine called body, physical body, gets an immense amount of energy, and it restores itself back to its original position only by sleeping, only being away from the sense organs. So the sense organs are temporarily disconnected from the doer, so that the doer gets a lot of rest during the time. Even the physical body gets a certain amount of rest. Of course, the vital organs, they do function, like the heart, the lungs and all, they have to function. The entire internal organs have to function, but the external activities are they are kept at a minimal extent, so that the physical body gets an amount of rest and energy. That is the second class of, that is the fifth class of psychic destiny. This is the fourth class of psychic destiny. The fifth class is death itself, the trauma during death. So death, in sleep also we come out of our physical body. The whole system is the subtle system that is there along with the physical body, it gets detached temporarily for a short period, and that we call it as sleep. Whereas in death, it is a permanent detachment. The entire subtle bodies, they detach from the physical body, and physical body is left alone, like that, aloof, and then the other systems, they pass on to the other realities. So that very traumatic experience, that itself is a destiny. That is the fifth destiny for a normal person, an ordinary person. And after that, the sixth psychic destiny, that is the after states. After death or after detachment from the physical body, what happens to the jiva? That is what happens to the other energy systems. They all go, the subtle systems, they pass through so many stages which are known as the heaven or the bright light. So many people have had this near-death experience, and then again they have come back to the physical body. They have not undergone death as such. During that fifth physical destiny, this is not completely detached. Some part is there, attachment is there. Still they go through that sixth destiny, and they come back. Many people have narrated their experience. We can read so many books of Dr. Raymond Moody, who has written vividly about the experiences that people have had after death. That is the near-death experience books. They are very, very excellent. And in Robsang Rampa's books also we can see this after death states, what he has to narrate. That is all very interesting, very essential for us to know, so that we know completely about death, sleep, everything. And we have that helps a lot in this physical life, the day-to-day life. it makes us mature, makes us known of all those things. Unknown things are known to us, so that we get rid of all the ignorance, we live in knowledge, and the life becomes much easier to live, and it is purposeful also. So, we move on to the next item.
Form destiny. The first kind of psychic destiny, that is form destiny, comprises the prenatal influences which mold the physical body. These influences are the doer's past desires while in animal forms, which come together again when summoned for descent by the doer. The mother and the heredity are merely the channels for the shape and endowments of the newborn. The period of prenatal development subjects the mother as well as the child to influence from the form world, for childbearing is a distinctly psychic period.
Yeah, this form destiny, that is the physical destiny, what he means, that is psychic destinies, one part is physical destiny. There is one item in that. It is divided into several parts. In that, the form destiny is very important, because the form is taken at that time. It is prenatal period. During that time, the doer in the body, who is to come into the body, shapes the body because of his desires. The doer has got lot of desires. In the previous births, he has had lot of desires. So, according to that desire and according to the forms that he has entertained in his mind, and it may be an animal form, because he may have transformed from an animal to a human. So, that also is possible. So, that animal form desire, that is also there. So, he may get that, and what we call as heredity is only a mere channel with which we come. The shape of the body may resemble the mother or father, but it is not the entire character, entire psychic destiny is not dependent on heredity at all. That we have to understand. Only a small part it plays, the heredity. So, other things it is our own. So, each individual entity, the doer has his own role in order to, his or her own role in order to play. So, the desires of the doer, yes, that comes to the formation of the physical body. So, it is all prenatal, before conception itself, all these things are planned and then worked out, and what sort of a body we should have, a male, female or a transgender, all these things are pre-planned by the doer to have such experiences. So, it is all planned in advance, and then we undergo this form destiny. So, that is also because of some destiny, because of the thought that is there, that had been entertained by the doer in previous incarnations, we get this form, that is our destiny. The manifestation of that thought is the form that we get. Even in forming the physical body, there is so much that destiny, to undergo that destiny, there is so much thought behind it.
The second kind of psychic destiny, strictly psychic destiny, becomes manifest after birth in the endowments and conditions under which the doer works in life. Formative influences appear in the first years, others come later in life. All are exteriorizations of thoughts. So come cheerfulness, content, courage, modesty, frankness, and their opposites. In a few instances, special features appear as psychic destiny, as in mediumship and the premature development of functioning on the form plane.
So, the psychic destiny comes only after birth on the form plane. So, it takes place where that is the destiny itself is divided into so many parts, and first he says about the form destiny, that is decided before the birth, prenatal, and after that during the pregnancy period itself so many things are formed, and after that the psychic destiny comes into force. Then that is we come across all these things, the mental or the psychic area, psychic realm is there. So, in that, through that we get so much of our destiny being worked out. So, the materialization of such thoughts will give rise to so many of our characters, our nature, our ability, all those things will be designed, formed at that stage after birth. After the form is complete, and the doer starts living in that form, and then slowly the psychic destiny is being worked out. That comes into force, that is materialized, the destiny comes out. So it manifests in so many ways, we can see that. So every human being has to undergo all these destinies. So if we have preferred to do so, we have opted for this great life on earth. So we undergo all these things in different layers, different forms, in different formats.
In a few instances, special features appear as psychic destiny, as in mediumship and the premature development of functioning on the form plane. But since men are unable to govern their feelings and desires, it is well that they do not develop along these lines. Among practices to force such a development are postures and breathing in a certain way. They usually end disastrously, for interference with the physical breath brings on far-reaching disturbances. The psychic nature should not be dreaded because of these dangers. Many benefits may be derived from a normal and natural development of the psychic powers, now latent in most people.
Yeah, what Percival says is, most of our psychic abilities, they are all dormant now. They don't come into the fore because we dread those abilities, like mediumship. All those things are there. Those are all very, very great abilities. But we don't give importance to that. We fear that. We feel something else has happened. Some ghost has occupied, and so many misunderstandings, misgivings, and ignorance. All these things cause the fear of psychic abilities. So actually the psychic abilities, when nurtured properly, definitely they will have a lot of impact, and they will be beneficial to the society, beneficial to the individual. But the doer is premature, so he does not want all these things. So it goes on unnoticed, and the abilities don't come in help for him. So the development also is not that much in a non-psychic, in the sense the abilities which are not developed in an individual. So the psychic abilities, yes, they have to be nurtured, to be encouraged, and then the benefits thereof to be reaped by all of us. So unless we know all these things, we will not be able to understand the science behind that, and then we will not be able to come out of our ignorance, and we continue to be in fear.
The ability to diagnose and prescribe for diseases, the acquisition of personal magnetism, and the power to heal by laying on of hands are advantages which may accrue because of psychic development. Some space is given to those who explain all things by the law of vibrations, and to those who believe that a study of colors is a key to occult powers, and to those who want to be astrologers. Sensing astrally that which is ordinarily concealed comes as a result of natural growth of the sense of sight. If the development is premature or is abused, the doer, instead of controlling the forces and beings in the elements, will be controlled by them.
Yeah, it's very, very beautifully put by Percival. That is, we do not, so far we have never relied on the psychic abilities. Yes, they are very beneficial, especially in giving treatment to distance healings. We have come across all these terms now, the laying of hands and vibrational medicine, all these things we come across only now. So now this is the time for us to know about all these things, know more about it, and reading various other books. Yes, we should develop our own psychic abilities. That is what Percival says. So many abilities are there which are all hidden. We know through our very sight we can know so many things. That power also is lost because the doer is afraid. Doer is unable to control the feelings and desire. Those two minds are never controlled by when situations arise in such a way that the doer is unable to control his feelings and desires, then he will be a prey to that, and he will be in turn controlled by them. So instead of being controlled by somebody else, some other minds. We have to, the doer has to now come out and shed all his ignorance and then sway over his feelings and desires, so that all those things are very well nurtured and he gets benefits out of that. So, his psychic abilities also can be developed by a certain type of breathing exercise or breathing techniques. Through that he can develop his psychic abilities. So, that will very much benefit him in his course of life. So, that is what is the advice given by Percival.
Religions are psychic and are psychic destiny. They affect the emotions and satisfy the need of the suffering doer and the demand for being saved, that is, that it may not perish after death. Government, institutions, laws, and politics are largely psychic destiny, and changes in them are due to emotional reactions of those who are affected by them. Party spirit is not merely a figure of speech, it is an entity which represents the feelings and desires of many united in one form. Likewise, there are spirits of definite classes clinging to their special conservatism and prejudices. These spirits make an impression on the astral body of the embryo of one who belongs to them, and so comes the inborn predisposition for or against certain institutions.
Yeah, mostly we feel that psychic ability pertains only to the psychic destiny is pertaining only to an individual. It is not so. That is what Percival says. It pertains to so many other government, politics, so many other fields. Also, psychic destiny is being worked out. So, the manifestation of that thought comes out even in through all these things. So, there is a party, there are so many political parties, so many other parties. That also is formed because of the collective mind of the people. So, there the collective psyche of all the people who belong to a certain group or party, that works, and that gives them either the benefit of that or they face some defeat. So, it is intermittent. Sometimes they win, sometimes they lose. So, it is according to the collective psyche of that party they belong to. So, like this so many things happen in groups also. So, it is not, the psychic field is not pertaining only to an individual, it is there for the entire society. So, the entire society collectively have got psychic field. So, from where they have they will experience all these things, especially a person who is emotionally affected by such parties, government bodies or something, some groups. They definitely have an influence on that, the emotions of an individual, and collective emotions that also play a part. So, it is not the destiny is not pertaining to only one doer. It is the collective destiny, psychic destiny of all the so many doers in a group also.
The 6 classes of strictly psychic destiny are all subjective states. These, as well as mental and noetic destiny, are the interiorizations and their effects which are produced upon a doer by what happens to his body on the physical plane. Psychic destiny of the second class, that is joy or sorrow, without physical contact, is also unavoidable. The third class relates to the character of the human being, his disposition, endowments, sentiments, instincts, virtues, and vices. The fourth class of psychic destiny is sleep and other states where the doer is not in control of the 4 senses, as hallucinations, somnambulism, hypnosis, and self-suggestion. The fifth class is death and the process of death. The sixth class relates to states after death, the judgment, the hells, and the heaven. From heaven, the doer sinks at last at the fullness of its eternity on to the light plane of the form world, and there awaits the connection with the physical body which is being prepared for it and in which it will re-exist. The psychic destiny of the 4th, 5th, and 6th classes is unavoidable. With these preliminary remarks on psychic destiny as a basis, we can now proceed to understanding how the physical body is formed and the building of a new physical body is planned.
It's very, very clear whatever Rajan sir has said. So, we have already gone through those 6 classes of psychic destiny. So, the first 3 can be changed, can be altered. First 3 physical destinies, whereas the next 3, 4th, 5th and 6th destinies are unavoidable. So, everyone has to sleep, everyone has to die, everyone has the afterlife, after death states. So, it is those 3 cannot be changed, but what can be changed by us. So, our nature, our character can be changed, and we hear news, some news or some message and get emotionally affected, that also can be changed. We go to the truth and find out the truth, then we will have the contentment, or the destiny does not exist anymore. So, like that we can change, and by physical touch also we get some destinies worked out, physical, that is a psychic destinies by physical touch. That also can be minimized by our own changing. So, we have to know about all these things, have a clear picture, have in-depth knowledge, go to the truth, seek the truth, and everything will be given to you. So, we have to, it is in our hands to seek everything. The doer has to seek, then the truth will be given to him, so that he need not again go back to all these destinies and suffer too much in that. So, even sleep, death and after life, after death states can be manipulated, can be changed, or can be understood in a better way, in order to have a pleasant experience of all these things, all the 3 psychic destinies that he has mentioned. So, so for a doer to completely be aware of his desires and his feelings, that is working through his desire mind and feeling mind, this doer has to undergo some spiritual practices like meditation, so that he will be able to keep the destiny under his control, and he can come over that, that is he can easily pass through that and come out of it. So, it is our duty to come out of all the destinies and learn a lesson, whatever it is, and then become without any, we can live here without creating any destiny at all. So, that is possible. That is what Percival has been throughout has been saying this in his book. So, and he also gives ways and means how we can avoid our destiny by our own thinking.
So, friends, in conclusion of this episode, I would say that we have examined what psychic destiny is and the different classes, the 6 classes of psychic destiny, and now we will be moving out to the next episode, where the physical body and the building of a new physical body, what all it entails, how the race of the body is decided, and how the family is decided, and on what basis it will be, how the family is selected, will all be examined in the next episode. So once again, bye for now. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you to Girija Rajan too.
Thank you.